welcome to our Imbolc tarot readings for 2026. Imbolc, which comes from Old Celtic tradition, the word itself comes from Old Gaelic for ewe's milk, and it typically was celebrated around the time that the ewes, the female sheep, for any farmers who kept sheep, would start producing the first of their milk for their newborn lambs. So this is how we know it's about halfway to spring, based on these natural cycles with sheep and other animals, and the first new spring plants are starting to bud as well. With this growing warmth, this growing light, we focus on continuing to make do with what we've got available to us, making sure we're not pushing ourselves too hard and working too long, especially because it is still winter, it's still cold, it's still dark, the days are still short. So it's okay if you need to take a little more time to rest and recover and build up strength and energy for the goals that you want to achieve. And these readings will hopefully give you whatever guidance you need to help you find the strength and find the energy to build momentum into starting whatever goal or maintaining whatever goal you have started. So as with all of these videos, first off, I want to urge you all to take what resonates and leave behind what does not. That means that your sun sign reading may not be the best reading for you. It means that everything in a reading may not necessarily pertain to your specific situation, but the reading that resonates most closely is the one that you need most. If you have found this video, I firmly believe it is for a reason, and at least one of these readings in this video is intended for you at some time within the next few weeks. That said, we will be following the same format that we do with all of these tarot readings, in that we will pull 3 cards from a Waite Smith style deck, in this case the Edgar Allan Poe Tarot by Sarah Christensen Fu, and 1 card from an oracular style deck, in this case the Halloween Oracle by Stacey Demarco. And being that it is the 1st of February, we are firmly in Aquarius season, so we will be beginning with Aquarius's reading and ending with Capricorn's. You can find the specific time codes for any specific sign you wish to hear listed along the timeline at the bottom of the video and in the description below it. One last thing before we do shuffle. As a reminder, I do offer personal tarot readings through my website, aliriencosplay.com. You can find the link to that for information and prices regarding booking and my policies and everything in the link tree, also in the description. Alright, Aquarius, you have pulled the inverted King of Graves, the inverted 9 of Eyes, the inverted 10 of Hearts, the inverted 10 of Graves, the Knight of Graves upright. And your oracle cards, you have the Lamp for Remembrance, and I was called to pull a second card just from the bottom of the deck for you. We have Night Song, Hidden Talents. You, Aquarius, are overly concerned with your material security right now. You are too worried about what you don't have, what you think you don't have, and that is causing you to lose sight of the bigger picture. You are counting your have-nots and ignoring your blessings. The inverted King of Pentacles is stingy, he's overbearing, he's over-strict. The inverted 9 of Eyes is being very close to being through with a journey, through with a goal, having all but fully realized some responsibility, but not quite being finished. And inverted indicates that you are very tired, and how tired you feel, that exhaustion is leading to some burnout, and that burnout is part of the problem. You're so tired that all you can see is the more work that you feel like you need to do. You have the inverted 10 of Hearts. You feel like you're at absolutely rock bottom. In spite of how far you've come on your path, you feel like you've fallen back to square one. You feel so just betrayed by circumstances and perhaps by people. You feel broken as well, because I'm looking at the similar imagery of the 2 10s, and both have this sort of shattered glass that is reflecting splintered and fractured pieces of the situation. You're only seeing the bits and pieces that confirm your worries. Inverted 10 of Graves, similar to the other inverted 10, you are more stable than you realize, but you're only seeing the burdens. You're only seeing the setbacks. You're only seeing the obstacles. One shining light, at least from the Poe cards, is your Knight of Graves. He is stalwart. He is dedicated. He is patient. And he indicates, I believe, an unwavering determination and patience that you have, Aquarius. And you know you have this. However your circumstances are, however they feel to you, you have the patience and the dedication and the time to work at it step by step and see it through to a better place. You may feel you don't have enough money for everything you need to worry about now. How far out are the due dates for those expenses? You don't have to pay for everything right this second all at once, do you? I'm really getting the sense that this is to do with finances in particular. One, because of how many of the Graves cards we have. Graves is this deck's version of Pentacles. And while Pentacles is not always money, this feels very money heavy. This feels very, very concerned with the current state of your bank account versus your bills, and not only the things you have to pay for, but also the things that you want to pay for that you're scared you're not going to be able to afford. You're too tightly wrapped around this, and you're looking at the situation way too closely. You're letting yourself get too overwhelmed with all of the pieces all at once. I would suggest taking time, writing down all the things that have to be paid for, absolutely. There are personal necessities. And then there are the extra things beyond that. Break it down into 3 categories, and we'll call that third one lagniappe. And look at when you're gonna actually need to pay for any of these things. Because you're continuing to earn money as you move through each day, each week, each month. You have a paycheck. So you just need to weigh that paycheck over time by the time each thing is due. And I think that will help level out your concern and help you realize that you're not destitute. For one thing, the 5 of Graves has not come up. You feel like you're at rock bottom, and that still needs to be acknowledged. But I'll say this, with the 10 of Graves, the 10 of Hearts, with both 10s inverted, the only way to go is up. You can't get any lower in terms of your perspective here. That means all you can do is get better, get lighter, be more positive. Things can only improve. We have your 2 oracle cards. You have the lamp for remembrance. One of the traditions at Halloween time that's been a bit more forgotten, obviously we carve jack-o'-lanterns and stick candles in them. And the tradition behind that was for the face of the jack-o'-lantern scares off all the malevolent stuff that's active. The lantern in the other window is to guide your departed loved ones and any other benevolent spirits to your home to spend time with you. This lamp can guide you too. It can guide those who've passed on, those who've come before, to your side. It lets you know that they're there. It lets you know that they're trying to help you. And it helps you hopefully see the light forward to improve your situation, or at least improve your mindset about it. It also wants to guide you to see just how capable you are of seeing this through. Night Song is about your hidden talents, the skills and predispositions you possess, like your patience and determination, that you either need to discover or rediscover, that will help you through. And I love the timing of this as well. Hidden talents, Night Song has a cardinal. And cardinals are some of the few songbirds that sticks around during the winter. It's this bright, optimistic little spot of red in a stark landscape of white, cold snow. This is the first drop of optimism you need. Try to reframe your situation. Try to see all the positive sides of it, rather than just getting so overwhelmed and bogged down in the negatives. There is a way forward. You're already on that path. You just need to recognize that the road you thought was shifting has turned solid. All right, Pisces, you have drawn the inverted High Priestess, the 6 of Eyes, the inverted Page of Eyes, the 5 of Graves, the inverted Knight of Hearts, and your Oracle card is Eternal Love. I'm going to start with the Oracle because I think it's an underlying theme to help you through. To keep this one's meaning in mind as we go through the rest. Love is love is love. Love transcends all. Love conquers all. And it's that conquering bit that's coming through particularly strongly. The inverted high priestess tells me that you need to get back in touch with your intuition. And you need to really learn the difference between your intuitive voice and your paranoid voice. Let me explain. Many times our head, our internal monologue, our decisions come from places of past hurt. Sometimes what we think is our intuition, our gut check, is an old fear, an old wound that's smarting. That paranoia will tell you this might hurt. Your intuition will tell you this won't. I heard something recently that might help, because it's been helping me. Your paranoia and your fear will come through as questions. Your intuition will come through as statements. One will ask, one will doubt, one will badger you with what ifs. Your intuition will say, this is this, that is that, this is true, this is false. Keep that disparity in mind. When something just feels correct, that's your intuition guiding you. The Six of Eyes tells me that you recently accomplished something. You reached some sort of milestone. Not quite done with whatever you were doing, but you reached a significant point where you can really see that things are closer to the end than they were to the beginning. And you're being recognized for this accomplishment, you're being lauded for it, and you've earned, deservedly, a break. But I think somewhere along the way, you're either doubting that you've truly earned it, or you're overly concerned with what comes after. Possibly both, because the inverted page of eyes is lacking motivation. She is doubtful. She's lost some of that spark, some of that fire that drives her. The Five of Graves is poverty. It's destitution, severe, heartfelt lack. I don't think, however, that it's money, like Aquarius was very strongly telling me. This feels like something less tangible, but just as permeating as a lack of funds would be. I'm wondering if this is job stability, if this has to do with your current career and whether or not it will actually help you get to your goal. I think perhaps you're questioning your position in your job or the job itself, or perhaps your coworkers at this job. Like this feels very my current 9 to 5 oriented. There's a lack of something, a lack of certainty, if nothing else, that is part of the clouding. And I think this is part of where your need to follow your intuition comes into play. The inverted Knight of Hearts is a recklessness and an abrasiveness, particularly with how you talk or how you think. I don't know that you've reached this point yet. I think you're either risking becoming like this, or there's someone else who is acting like this, who is part of the catalyst for you kind of re-examining things. And somewhere in all of this, I think there's a level of deceit, of distrust, of dishonesty. There's a potential betrayal brewing under the surface. And I think somewhere along the way, you're recognizing that there's a potential problem. You're not sure where your intuition stops and your fears start. Because sometimes they're telling you the same thing. And that's when it can get really difficult to pick out which one is working at any given moment. This is where the oracle comes back into play. You need to trust and love yourself enough to know that you will, in any scenario, ultimately know what is best for you, no matter how difficult it might be to do what is best for you. You need to trust in those whom you love to have your best interest at heart and to be able to help you navigate this. Not just those you love, but those who love you too, where there's a mutual care and concern. If nothing else, they can, if this Knight is you, they can help you avoid any pitfalls that this might lead to. Because oftentimes, I really feel like this is a warning for you and not necessarily somebody else. I think in all of your concern and your doubt, there's a chance that you will say the wrong thing to the wrong person and end up regretting it. I think you need to really take the time each day to sit with yourself and work out where the line is between your intuition that's telling you something's off versus your fear, your paranoia, your past traumas telling you something might be off. You and those you love might need to be your source of stability for a while until whatever this is works out. You are doing fine. I think there's a circumstance around you that is causing you to doubt, and you need to be sure you can tell the difference between your intuition and your doubt before you make any serious moves in this situation. And once you're sure of the difference, you'll then be able to navigate this better. And in that meantime, some of the truth of the situation is likely to out itself, so that you have to do very little for your part. I think there's information here that you're just not meant to know, which is why I'm struggling to kind of concisely put this together for you. I can say this: focus on you, focus on the people around you who you love, who love you in return, and with whom you have unwavering trust between you. That needs to be your focus, is on the enduring love in your life, and letting that love help you learn to love and trust yourself. And from that, I think everything else will start to work out more clearly. Aries, you have pulled for Imbolc the Wheel of Fortune, Judgment, the Sun, the Moon inverted, the Page of Hearts, and your oracle is the Apple, Risk and Reward. There are a few consistencies within these cards. Wheel of Fortune, Judgment, and the Sun are all indicating a need for you to remove some of the weight from your shoulders. The Wheel of Fortune reminds you that there are things working not just within your life, but in the greater world and universe around you that are simply beyond your control. And as such, you can't really worry about which way they'll go. All you need to worry about right now is what you can control, the things you can affect. And if you've done all you can do about a situation, then it's time to let go of everything else and just watch and see how it plays out. If you've done the best you can with everything you can control about it, then the rest is out of your hands. So you don't need to keep worrying about it. Similarly, Judgment urges you to let go of all of your material, very, very worldly, mundane concerns. Anything you're currently worried about is going to work out however it needs to work out, for better or worse. Wheels have already been set in motion. The Wheel of Fortune and Judgment cards parallel each other. One simply has a larger purview. Anything in your past is already past. All you can do is learn from what happened and move forward with that greater knowledge. The Sun is a card of pure happiness and mirth and joy and new beginnings. It is just pure light and hope and happiness, as I said. These all together indicate that there are things that you should be celebrating right now. There are happy, good things in your life that need to be your focus right now. But you're not quite letting go. The inverted moon shows me that there are worries you're still clinging to, and more so that those worries are tainting your worldview. I think you're seeing some problems as bigger than they truly are. You're seeing some of your blessings and the things that you have to be happy about, perhaps a bit cynically. Like, why should I be happy about this when this thing is going on? And the other thing that's going on is something you absolutely have no control over, whether you like it or not. But you do have the Page of Hearts, specifically. This is the Page of Swords. He is discerning. He is learning how to use his words and his intellect, not just for his own betterment, but for the sake of those around him. And you can learn from him to remember that you will constantly always be learning. There's a theme of weighing, of balancing, of comparison that you need to do in order to kind of set your sights right and realign your focus on what matters right now. And what's funny is 3 of these cards are depicting something being kind of held in the hand, as though its weight, its measure is being considered. One line kept popping into my head as I was looking these over, trying to figure out how they work together. Your character has been measured and found lacking. I don't know what that's from. I think the application of that. It's not anything to do with you personally being poor of character. The weight of importance and priority of the concerns you are holding in your life, in your head, in your heart, need to be weighed and considered carefully so that you can recognize what is actually most important to you right now. And ideally, you will come to recognize that things that are out of your control are less important for you to worry about. You need to worry about how you think, how you speak, how you act toward yourself and others. You need to worry about enjoying all of the good things in your life while you have them. You need to worry about, with the apple, knowing that every reward that is worth the risk needs to be sought, needs to be pursued and achieved. You need to weigh and measure and consider the goals and rewards that you are pursuing. Are they worth the risks involved? If the answer is yes, then keep going. If the answer is no, then let go, shift to something else. Further, you need to weigh and measure and consider whether you have control over something. Because there's a line that my fiance often repeats to me to help me when I'm having higher anxiety about things, and I've found myself repeating it to my mom in turn. If you're worried about a situation, think about whether you can do anything about that situation to fix it. Is there a solution? If the answer is yes, then you can stop worrying about it because you have a solution. If the answer is no, then you can stop worrying about it because there was never a solution and thus there was nothing you could do anyway. It was always out of your hands. Why worry about it? You need not worry so much about the things you are currently worrying about. Release all of the concerns that have been plaguing your mind, Aries. Focus on all of the wonderful things you have in your life. Focus on thinking and speaking optimistically, realistically, and discerningly. And focus on, I don't want to say chasing, because that frames it wrong in my opinion, but focus on going after all of the goals and rewards that are meant for you and that you want to achieve and that are worth the risks. Focus on the good, focus on what you can do, can say, can control. Everything else will be as it was always going to be. Taurus, I physically gasped. You have the inverted Eight of Graves. You have death, you have the world, you have the inverted tower, and you have the black cat. Fortune meets opportunity. Something very significant is going to shift for you, Taurus, and has already shifted. Whatever work you've been doing has come to a halt, almost a screeching halt. If you had tires to squeal by hitting the brakes, you would have burnt rubber. The inverted Eight of Graves indicates a loss of motivation. Often it indicates going through the motions without actually putting thought or energy into what you're doing, thus not actually making progress toward your goal. In this case, I think that the work itself has stopped. Hi, Roxy. Death and the Tower both indicate significant changes, but in very different forms. Death is something that needs to change, but usually is fairly neutral or more positive than negative. You are sad to be leaving something behind, but it's a leaving behind that has to happen, and somewhere along the way you know it has to happen. The world indicates completion, wholeness, some sort of goal or path fully realized and in all of the best ways. The Tower is a change that rocks the very foundation of who you are, of what you believe, of why you are doing what you do. The Tower is the sort of change that helps us to come back to center with our ego and help us recognize and remember that the world doesn't revolve around us. We don't have control over everything. We're not responsible for everything. We're not entitled to everything. When inverted, it can mean that that change has been delayed, and it's been delayed to a point that it can no longer, not delayed, but I get the sense that this is the kind of thing that you perhaps have been anticipating and thus trying to put off fruitlessly, but it didn't come as soon as you expected. So you've just been sitting here chewing on your nails, waiting for it to land, and the card popping up kind of indicates that it is about to hit finally. But you've worn yourself so thin and so ragged waiting for it to hit that when it hits, you're either going to be worse off because you've already run yourself ragged, or you're gonna realize it wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be because all of your anticipation was worse than the change itself. These three cards all together tell me that it really feels like your entire lifestyle, a huge chunk of your life is about to shift. This feels like you are changing careers, like something big to do with family, like something very significant is about to change for you, Taurus. And ultimately, however you feel about that, good or bad. I get the sense that you are both excited and scared. You are very scared that you're not going to be able to adapt, and you are very scared of losing things that you think are important. If you lose them now, they are no longer important for you. You feel that they are important, if nothing else for sentimentality or complacency. But if you're losing them in the process of this shift, then they no longer serve you, and the universe is trying to help you see that, because losing these things is going to clear the way for so much on the other side. I think the work that has come to a screeching halt as well is something that you've perhaps realized is being let go of through all of this. Whatever goal you were working toward is probably no longer a goal you feel is worth pursuing, and that is perhaps part of what has shaken you and why you're terrified of this change. This feels like a goal you've worked toward so hard for so long that coming to this realization that it's no longer yours is both a relief and a shock. Black Cat tells you that something new and better is coming in the wake of this. This change is happening in order to help you reroute to what you are meant to do. It can be really jarring when we come to these points in our lives where we suddenly realize that who we once were and who we thought we were becoming are gone. Something significant about your goals, your very core beliefs, something that you use to frame who you are is about to change. And it's very scary. You feel almost like you're lying to yourself, almost like you're trying to reinvent yourself, because it's new and it's strange. And it's unfamiliar to your mouth to say these words. It's unfamiliar to your body to move this way. But in order to achieve what is now your goal, everything about who you are has to shift with it. It doesn't mean you're not you. You are still you. You have just found something better and more important than what you thought you wanted previously. No matter how scary and unfamiliar any of this will feel, this is all ultimately for the good. It will be so much more fulfilling, so much more rewarding to accept that these changes are happening and move and work with them, rather than trying to resist and continuing to hide behind your fear. The losses will still be hard, but remember that somewhere along the way, they are all necessary. Because look at what you can gain in their place. Gemini, you have drawn the inverted 9 of Hearts, the inverted 9 of Graves, the 2 of Graves, the Magician, and your oracle is the ancestors, the love and legacy of your DNA. Gemini is very, very stressed. You are losing sleep. You are despairing, my love. And it feels that you are despairing for things that you had no control over to begin with. And thus over things that aren't your fault, that you don't need to make amends for. The 9 of Hearts inverted is this despair. It's sleeplessness. It's full onset depression. The 9 of Graves inverted gives me a sense that you've achieved a lot, particularly materially. You have earned a lot of money, you have a good job, whatever the case may be, but somewhere along the way, it feels empty. You fear that you did not earn rightfully everything you have. This is the analogy that popped up. You feel like a grave robber who dug up a grave only to find an empty casket. But you, or someone before you, you earned everything that's rightfully yours. And anything you had before, whatever you earned, was rightfully earned by someone before you who was paving the road for you to walk. The 2 of Graves is a card of balance, equilibrium in all things. It's being able to keep work at work, home at home, and not let all of the lines cross so much that you're overwhelmed, or that you fall over or drop all of the balls that you're juggling. And in spite of how you feel, you're managing to maintain this balance. The concern is that if you keep despairing, something's gonna fall. It might be one of the things you're juggling, it might be you. You are doubting the success you've already achieved, which in turn is making you doubt anything further you try to achieve from this point. These 2 are telling you, as long as you keep everything balanced, keep it all in check, don't get overwhelmed, you've got all the skill, the knowledge, the resources, and the connections to make whatever your goal currently is happen. I know it's not you and your achievements you're worried about. It is perhaps those who came before you that you're wondering about. The Gemini this is for is someone who maybe not is part of the silver spoon crowd, but is feeling guilty that they are better off than other people. Whatever foundation you started with was built by hands that came before you. For better or worse, the entire line of your ancestors fought and survived and earned and moved, married and procreated in an ongoing chain of legacy to give each new generation of children, of descendants, a better chance at achieving more and continuing to survive. And yes, not everything done by our families in the past is something commendable, but you are here because of it. And you cannot change what happened in the past. Your family might have some skeletons in the closet, but you can only know what you know, and you can only act on what you know. You need not feel guilty over the actions of those who came before. The sins of your fathers are not your own, and that's assuming they've sinned at all. Do not feel guilty for having what you have, and further, do not feel guilty for using it. You have these resources, these connections, this platform for some kind of a reason. Use it. That is why it is there. Do not beat yourself down over things that were not your actions in the past. And do not let others convince you that you should be guilty of them either. No matter where you've started from, the things you have achieved in your life are no lesser based on your starting block. You still crossed every one of those finish lines. You are fully capable. You earned everything you currently have, and you are fully capable of earning everything you set out to do moving forward. You're not a grave robber staring at an empty tomb. All right, Cancer, you have pulled for Imbolc Judgment, the Three of Graves, the inverted 10 of Graves, the 9 of Eyes, and your oracle card is Ghost. You are clinging to something in your past, and I think you're afraid that that thing from your past is going to happen again, and it's preventing you from moving forward. You need to talk to someone about what's happening, and more so, you need to work with other people to help you reach your goal. Whatever happened before has passed. And while you may have regrets, you also need to look at how far you've come. Right now, you're not doing that. You're so focused on the details and any of the things that are similar to this past occurrence. I have a feeling maybe this is your second or third attempt at achieving something. And because the last few times weren't successful, you're worried that this one will work out the same way. And you're scared that if it doesn't work out, that you're gonna have to give up, completely change course, do something else that you don't want to do. You're clinging to some sort of a dream, a hope, and you don't know who you are without it. So if it doesn't work out, you're afraid that you're going to be disappointing everyone around you, that people won't see you the same, they'll pity you, and you don't know what to do with people's pity. The difference is that you definitely, whether or not you had anyone to turn to the last time, you do have people to turn to this time. The Three of Graves is a card of teamwork, of working with others who possess skills you lack and need skills you have to achieve a shared goal. You don't have to go it alone, and in fact you shouldn't. The 10 of Graves inverted tells me that you're very close to establishing a legacy, to achieving stability, to reaching this goal. The 9 of Eyes similarly. The problem is that something is off with the foundation. Judgment tells you that you need to let go of worldly, earthly concerns and learn from your past without judging yourself for it. Ghost is a card of regret. You are so worried about history repeating itself that you're at risk of doing just that. You're so focused on what has happened that you're not paying enough attention to what could, or to what will, to what is. Pull yourself back into now and really look at just how far you've actually come from that past. How many new things have you learned? How many skills do you now possess? What has changed? What has made you better? What else have you achieved? And who do you have in your life now that you didn't back then? Remember, Cancer, that it is not weakness to ask for help. In fact, it is often one of the bravest things that we can bring ourselves to do. Leo, you have drawn the inverted 7 of Hearts, the 4 of Hearts, the 2 of Graves, the inverted Tower, and your oracle cards are Jack-o'-lantern for protection and the skeleton for strength. You need rest. You need to focus on staying balanced, keeping things as even keel as possible. And you need to focus on drawing on the strength you know you have deep down. Because somewhere in your life, according to this Seven of Hearts, something is being dishonest. It could be that you're not being honest with yourself about a situation. I'm being pulled to believe that there's someone else who's not being honest with you. Further, I suspect that you have recently realized that you need to make some sort of significant change. And in talking about it and making the steps toward enacting this change that you firmly believe, and I agree with you, will be for the better. It will better yourself. It will improve your life. It will help you feel more healthy, more fit, more well-adjusted in some way. Someone in your life is not happy that you're not enacting this change. They feel you're changing for the worse. They feel you're changing in a way that they don't want to be around. And that's a red flag. Because if you're making a change to better yourself and someone's angry about it, ask yourself why they would want you not to be better. And that ultimately is, I think, what this Tower is. And I don't think it's you that's been trying to put off this change. I think this other person wants you to stay exactly the same as long as possible for whatever gain they feel they're getting out of it. Don't do anything rash. Don't lash out. Don't kill yourself trying to, don't run yourself ragged trying to figure out who it is. You may already have a guess, but if you don't go crazy trying to play private eye and figure out who it is that's the problem. Because in time, as you consider prioritizing your energy, your safety, your strength, your balance, this person's gonna reveal him or herself to you. They may simply do it by just vanishing. They'll ghost you, they'll walk away. They won't even give a chance for closure between the two of you. I think this change is going to shake you. It's gonna be hard when you realize who it is, but you are so safe and surrounded by other people who actually love you, who actually care about you, and actually want the best for you. And those are the people that you're gonna be able to lean on. You need to keep prioritizing yourself and your well-being. You definitely need to go through with this change. I often, when I pick up the bottom card of the deck for these readings, will glance at what the next card is, and it helps to inform a little bit more of the energy of the reading. I don't often talk about it, but usually it'll help the reading be clearer. Your next card is the World. It's completion, it's fulfillment, it's the full realization of a goal, a manifestation. It also, being the final major arcana, circles us back to the beginning at the Fool. You have things ending in the best of ways and new beginnings right on the horizon. If you continue down your current path, you'll just be shy one person who decided they couldn't live with the new, better you, which leaves more room for everything waiting on the other side. All right, Virgo, your cards are the Queen of Ravens, the inverted Page of Ravens, the Ace of Ravens. Ace of Ravens is inverted, by the way. The Chariot, the Strength, and your oracles are Ancestors and Barmbrack. Virgo feels strung out. You are a highly compassionate and empathetic person. You know how to work through your emotions and help others work through theirs. But lately, your sense of wonderment, inspiration, of hope, and just a sort of childlike optimistic view of the world, willing to be surprised and happy to be so, has kind of fallen away. You're perhaps feeling too mature and too cynical about things. Similarly, the inverted Ace of Ravens, your cup has run empty. You're trying your darndest to keep going for the people you care about in your life, perhaps for others who don't even know you. And in doing so, you're not giving yourself enough time to recuperate, to heal, to process the things that are weighing on your mind so that you can make a decision and move on. I forget which other sign it was yesterday in the earlier readings in the video, but you, like one of those other signs, I think, is over-internalizing things that happen to other people around you. I think you, Virgo, are someone who feels when a family member or a friend or even a complete stranger is having a difficult time and is going through something, even if you don't have any means of really helping other than I'm here for you and I'm sorry, sometimes it feels like you're the one going through the trouble because you care so much about people that you just want everybody to be happy, to be cared for, to be comfortable. And the reality of our world, harsh as it may be, is that human nature prevents that sort of utopian existence. It is anathema. That doesn't mean you shouldn't hope for the best, but you cannot continue on, internalizing every single ill happening in the world around you. You won't have room or time for yourself. And that's what you need right now. The Chariot and Strength show me that things for you personally are about to be moving very quickly. And you have the strength, you have the fortitude to navigate all of it. You have the compassion as well. You need a bit of time to recover. You need to reconnect with that childlike wonder, that amazement and joy that you can find in the world. And further, with your oracle cards, you have ancestors, the love and legacy of your own DNA. You, like every single other person on this planet, are the product of decades and centuries of love and life and the will to leave something better for those who come after. I suspect you yourself have children or want children, and you want the world to be better for them, just as your parents wanted it better for you, and their parents wanted it better for them, and so on. And that very love of all of your ancestors leading to you courses through you every minute, and it's screaming out for you to take care of yourself. Their love is going to help you recover, and it's going to help you find a better way to navigate all of this. Barmbrack is the card of sweetness and synergy, of things working in harmony and finding all of those little joys, finding the sweetness of life in every day, finding something joyous to hold on to, even when everything around it feels so distraught. Cynicism and hopelessness are not your color. Don't let whatever's happening to other people pull you into that state. Refill your cup and rediscover that childlike wonder. Libra, you have pulled for Imbolc, Death, the inverted Eight of Graves, the Chariot, the inverted Knight of Graves, and your oracle is Forgiveness, reducing burden. So death signifies significant change. It is change that is inevitable by dint of the fact that it is deeply necessary for the sake of your betterment, your growth, perhaps for those around you as well. It's a change that can be uncomfortable because it means that something will likely be lost in its wake, but that loss does not mean that you are not you. And what is lost is not necessary for you to continue on. The inverted Eight of Graves says that while you've been working determinedly toward a goal, you've lost some of the motivation and the energy and the focus for getting that work done. I think you're going through motions, focused on the tedium, not the purpose. The Chariot is a card of heavy momentum, a very, very quick momentum and drive. You hold the reins, though you may not necessarily need them because your bond with the steed driving it is strong enough that your will alone tells the horse where to go. The inverted Knight of Graves, similar to the inverted Eight, tells me that things have stalled. You're hitting obstacles, you're hitting delays, and those obstacles and delays are demanding your attention and distracting you. Very clearly, something needs to change. And I think you're prepared for it, but you still are sorry for what may be left behind in this change. You're feeling insecure about it, but it's an opportunity you don't want to miss. Forgive. Forgive yourself. Forgive others that you've had any fallout with. You need to forgive and you need to let go so that you can move forward. Otherwise, you're dragging this weight behind you that's going to slow you down and you may not reach where you need to be in time to make it worth the attempt. Change is a very scary and uncomfortable thing. Being born is change. Growing is change. Losing your teeth so the new ones can come in. There are so many aspects of our lives, our entire lives, are just one big drawn out change and series of changes. Some of them are nice, they're better than they are bad, but we have to have the painful ones to make the good ones all the sweeter. And some changes, like this one, are both. You can be sorry for and miss what you're leaving behind, but you know full well, in spite of your discomfort, that you are moving on to something better, and that everyone involved will ultimately be better for this change occurring. You may be scared of what waits on the other side, all of the unknowns, but isn't it better to face those than to stay complacent in your comfort zone and never know what more you could have had? Scorpio, your cards for Brigid's Day are the High Priestess, the Seven of Graves, the Inverted Tower, the Ten of Hearts, and the graveyard for unnecessary fear. You have pretty strong intuition. You have a deeper understanding of things that others don't quite. And it's served you well in the past. I think right now, though, you are at risk of some sort of worry, some sort of fear, that's the graveyard card, clouding that intuition and your judgment from that. The Seven of Graves indicates that you're starting to see the benefit of work that you have put into something for a very long time. You're not quite to a point where you can do anything with that, but you know that your work is panning out so far. And it's a sign that you should keep going, that this path is something you should continue. There's some sort of hypothetical along this path, though, that I think you're concerned about. The inverted tower is signifying some sort of a change that, as I've described with other signs who've received it, is going to rock the core of who you are, who you think you are, what you thought things were versus how they truly are. And somewhere along the way, there's going to be a revelation in that feels like you've been betrayed, that feels like a personal slight against you, and feels like you might not be able to go on from it. However, I will say, I think what's more likely to happen is you're going to get to the point where you expect this betrayal to occur, and it's not. I think you're going to be so focused on what you're afraid is happening, you're not going to see or hear your intuition trying to tell you otherwise. And that's going to be what snaps you back to reality. That is going to be the shift that you don't know how to process right away, is finding where that line was so jarringly between your intuition and what you know to be true, and your fears and your doubts, what you were afraid was true. Don't let your fear control you or derail you. I attribute this line to The Princess Diaries because that's where I first heard it, but I believe the line initially comes from FDR. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the realization something else is more important than fear. You can be afraid and you can acknowledge that you are afraid, but you can do the thing in spite of that fear. Because this is another sort of paralleling of another reading. The difference between your intuition and your fear is how the thought presents itself. Fear will question, will doubt, will say, what if? Intuition will say, it is. It will be firm. It will be clear. Your fear will always be a question. Sagittarius, you have drawn the inverted Knight of Eyes, the inverted Wheel of Fortune, the Six of Graves, the Page of Graves, and your oracle card is the Lamp for Remembrance. Ooh, Saggy. The inverted Knight of Eyes tells me that you've been acting a bit recklessly and doing so without thinking through what you're going to do. And I think it's because you know, based on the inverted Wheel of Fortune, that there are things you can't control. So you're desperately trying to take control and act and make changes where you can, and perhaps are doing too much, making too many changes. Maybe you're moving a little bit too fast. Sagittarius is always on the move, which I commend you for. I struggle with that kind of momentum. Points to you for getting off your ass and doing something. But sometimes you don't need to. It's okay to sit still. You're not gonna collapse just for taking a few minutes to chill. Six of Graves is a card of generosity. Often people attribute this to charity, donating money. I think this has more to do with your time and your energy. Forgot to turn that one on. There we go. Oops. I think you are being generous with your time and your energy, and perhaps it's something commendable, but it's something where you're risking stretching yourself too thin. I think you're perhaps maybe being too eager to say yes to a lot of projects and a lot of things because you're eager to help other people and you're eager to keep doing things because you feel you need to always be moving. I almost wonder if you're afraid of people calling you lazy, and you are anything but. Quite the opposite. The Page of Graves tells me that. The two of these together, plus the Knight, you are not lazy. You're someone who is eager to start projects. You're eager and willing and have all the energy to keep learning, to keep growing. Just remember that everything you start, you need to see through and finish. Whatever that finish line may look like by the time you reach it, as long as you cross a few of them before you take on any more starting lines. The lamp is the light we set in the window so that those who've passed on and those who love us can always find their way back to us. And I think you perhaps need that guiding light to bring you back to center, bring you back to yourself, bring you back to Sit with yourself and remember exactly who you are. You're not what other people think or say or believe about you. And you're not all of the negative things you think about yourself. You are not how others treat you. You are not your past. You are you. You are your strengths. You are your talents. You are your skills. You are your accomplishments. You are your experience. You are someone who has done so much and survived so much. Fuck anybody who says you don't deserve a break every now and then. They call you lazy, fuck them. Not that way, you know what I mean? You know that sometimes there's no more to do. You know that sometimes there are things out of your control. It doesn't mean you need to rush to find the next thing to do. Take time, take a break. Let yourself have a day off of work every now and then. Let yourself give time without needing something in return. Let yourself say no to things because you don't have time. Keep learning, keep growing. Hold on to that eagerness, but slow down a little and think before you say yes, before you act. And you may find that in that breath between projects, that there's a newer, better opportunity that's waiting for you. Finally, our Capricorn reading is the inverted Page of Ravens, the Seven of Hearts, the inverted Four of Graves, the Five of Hearts, and the Cauldron for synergy and healing. And you definitely need time to heal. You need time to rest. You need time away from everything that is stressing you out long enough that when you come back to it all refreshed, it won't seem nearly as bad as you seem to think it is. You are burned out. The inverted Page of Ravens, like with Virgo, is a card of, I see it as a card of cynicism, of looking for the angle, the trick in everything. The reason why something can't just be fun. Something can't just be enjoyable. It can't be as pure or cute or good. Someone's always selling something. There's always an angle. That's not healthy. A little bit of cynicism is healthy, sure, because it helps you not be gullible or naive. It helps you to avoid being betrayed. But you feel like everything is a betrayal right now. You feel like everything's a problem. The Seven of Swords is a card of deceit, of dishonesty. The Four of Graves inverted is stinginess, hoarding, not wanting to spare any of what you have for anyone who's not going to give it back. There has to be something in it for you. You can't just give. The Five of Hearts indicates that you feel defeated or humiliated. Something has reached what feels like a bitter end to you. Everything seems too good to be true to you. And I don't know if it's you having worked yourself to the bone. I don't know if a relationship is on the rocks. But ultimately right now, your problem is your own mind. Your own mind and your own heart have been allowed to cling to how you feel for so long that you are now your own worst enemy. You, like several other signs, are listening too much to all the bad. You have, I don't even want to say nihilist, because a nihilist isn't necessarily this poor off, but it feels like a very bitter, nihilistic view you've taken on, and I don't think that's you. You're hardworking, you're determined, you're ambitious, sure, but there doesn't always have to be an angle. It's okay to just enjoy things. Even sometimes things that we keep being told we shouldn't enjoy for this, that, or the other reason. Go to a theme park, buy yourself the burger, wear the makeup, get the little tchotchke that comes in too much packaging. Whatever it is, you need to have something that you can enjoy without feeling guilty about it. Everyone has to. I'm actually personally really tired of this concept of guilty pleasures. If it's something you enjoy, why the fuck should you feel guilty about it? There doesn't have to be an angle. There doesn't have to be someone selling you something for their own personal gain. There doesn't have to be something for you to get out of every situation in order to give. Take a break. Clear your mind. Let yourself enjoy things without finding a way to pick it all apart. Let yourself enjoy things no matter how much other people might cringe. Because somewhere along the way, cynicism for the sake of not feeling or looking immature or naive is the immaturity. And if you're the one ruining everyone else's fun, including your own, then perhaps it's time to stop being bitter. Take a break and find the ways to be happy, just happy, without needing to gain anything out of it. And there were our 12 horoscope readings for the season of Imbolc for 2026. A lot of these focused on needing to rest and rediscover all the ways we can have joy and hope in our day-to-day lives instead of being too caught up in the mundane, the day-to-day, or bigger things we have no control over. I hope that all of us, over the next few weeks, as spring returns to us and brings light and warmth and new life with it, that we all can find new life in ourselves and new joys in our lives to hang on to and drive us forward every day. I wish you luck in any and all projects you are continuing or starting at this time, and I wish you the most blessed of Imbolc. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know where the buttons and the links are to show me that love, but if nothing else, I hope you will subscribe if you haven't done so already, and ring that little notification bell next to the subscribe button to turn on all notifications so you never miss a video. If you would like to see more content like this video specifically, I have my divination playlist linked in the cards and in the description below, where you can also find my Linktree portal to keep up with my adventures on other social media planes. As always, I would like to give a huge special, sorry, Bramble is snoring down here. As always, I would like to give a huge special thanks to my covens of patrons and Twitch subscribers who continue to be my biggest supporters. And if you, dear viewer, would like to join either of those ranks, again, check that Linktree portal for my Patreon page, where pledges start at $1 per month, or my Twitch channel, where a tier 1 subscription starts at $5.99. Thank you all again. Stay tuned for more Breath of the Wild VOD footage as I try desperately to work through it and hopefully get somewhat closer caught up to my gaming streams and whatever other vlogs may be on the way. And I shall speak to you all again very soon. Keep angling, my loves. Mwah.